what exactly would happen if you were to invest just $10,000 into each of the best high-quality dividend growth style ETFs, let the money compound over time? How much money would you be left with, and which of the dividend growth ETFs out there are even the best to begin with? Well, stick around to find out because we're going to go through all that and more in today's video. Real quick, for those that haven't already, make sure to go to the first link in my description and grab my new dividend investing ebook, where I share exactly how I went from $0 invested to now earning over $6,000 on a monthly basis and over $1 million invested in the markets. Along with the ebook, you're also going to receive my custom dividend tracker, where you can track your dividend progress on an ongoing basis and reach your dividend investing goals. So make sure to grab yourself a copy of my dividend investing ebook and the new dividend tracker today. It's the first link in my description. Now, the first best out of 5 highest quality dividend growth style ETFs, in my opinion, would have to be the Wisdom Tree US Quality Dividend Growth Fund, or DGRW. Now, this dividend growth ETF isn't talked about as much compared to some of the other ones we're going to go through in today's video, and I'm not exactly sure why, other than the fact that this ETF is a little bit expensive as far as expense ratio goes. This ETF has one of the best basket of stocks within it and a very, very high quality strategy. It says right here on the website, why DGRW: gain access to the current investment landscape of U.S. large cap dividend growing companies by applying quality and growth screens. It also says use as a complement to high yielding dividend strategies or as a replacement for large cap quality strategies. Now, DGRW has grown like crazy over time. It's up around 234% in the next time frame. But like I also said earlier, DGRW has some of the best stocks within this ETF, which in my opinion makes it one of the best, highest quality dividend growth style ETFs across the entire market. Not to mention, DGRW pays a 1.5% trailing 12-month dividend yield and has some decent dividend growth historically. Also, this ETF pays a dividend monthly, which some investors, including myself, favor. Now, with a $10,000 investment into DGRW, and this is back around 11.44 years ago since inception, that $10,000 would have turned into $41,828, and this is with dividends reinvested along the way. Now, DGRW has grown like crazy, paid dividends, and paid more and more in cash flow over time, which is why it's easily one of my favorite dividend growth style ETFs across the entire market, and at least historically, DGRW has turned a $10,000 investment into a massive one. The next highest quality dividend growth style ETF that definitely has turned $10,000 into a massive amount of money over time and could possibly do so in the future is VIG, another one of my favorites, the Vanguard Dividend Appreciation ETF. This ETF, of course, brought to us by Vanguard, says seeks to track the performance of the S&P US Dividend Growers Index. It emphasizes large cap equity with a record of growing their dividends year over year and is very, very cheap to hold on to, with just a 0.06% expense ratio. Now, VIG, just like the rest of them, has pretty much went up and to the right consistently over time. It's been trading for a bit longer, but it's up around 288%. Not to mention, VIG also has a very, very high quality top 10 holdings with a lot of familiar names you're going to see throughout this video. But along with that, VIG has a 1.74% trailing 12-month dividend yield, so massive dividend growth depending on which time frame you're looking at. And just like the last one, has paid investors more and more in income over time consistently for the most part. Now, as far as a $10,000 investment goes, over the last 18.5 years, VIG with dividends reinvested would have turned $10K into over $56,000, which is a massive, massive 9.8% average annual total return. Now, the next dividend growth ETF that can possibly turn $10,000 into a boatload of cash later on, and has at least historically, is my personal favorite, the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF, or SCHD. Now, SCHD is also very cheap to hold on to with an expense ratio of 0.06%. It has a very high quality objective and has the performance to back it up. Now, SCHD, just like the others, historically speaking, has been trading up and to the right, basically trading at near an all-time high as of filming this video. Now, SCHD's holding breakdown is maybe not as favorable compared to the other two dividend growth style ETFs we talked about, and I say that simply because some of these names, although some of them offer a lot more dividends than some of the other options, these names probably are not going to grow as fast as something like Apple or Microsoft, at least in my opinion. But either way, SCHD's top 10 holdings are still solid and pay dividends and also pay more and more in dividend income over time. We're talking a 3.5% more or less dividend yield for SCHD with massive dividend growth, meaning that if you bought SCHD a long time ago, you're getting paid a significant amount of dividend income compared to what you're getting paid in the past. Now, for these reasons and more, SCHD is my favorite dividend growth style ETF across the entire list, and this is just because I favor dividend income a little bit more than maybe the next investor. And this is simply because I'm planning on using my dividend income within maybe the next 2, 4, 6, 8 years to pay for things like bills, vacations, or of course to help out family and friends. Now, a $10,000 investment into SCHD, like I promised, has turned into a boatload of cash, almost $50,000, and this is with dividends being reinvested along the way, but still around a 13% average annual total return over the last 13.01 years is definitely very, very impressive. The next high quality dividend growth style ETF that I definitely like and that also has had some insane performance over history is VYM, or the Vanguard High Dividend Yield ETF, which also has a very cheap expense ratio at 0.06%. Now, VYM's product summary says seeks to track the performance of the FTSE High Dividend Yield Index, which measures the investment return of common stocks of companies characterized by high dividend yields. And what's crazy is that if we were to look at VYM's performance with a $10,000 investment also, with dividends being reinvested along the way, over the last 16-17 years, VYM, just like the rest of them, has a very impressive total return of around 326% total, or around 9% on average per year. Which once again just goes to show that even though these dividend growth style ETFs of course favor dividends and dividend growth to a degree, they also have all grown consistently over time, which makes them a very high quality foundational position for really any portfolio out there, at least if you ask me. Now, last but not least, it was so hard to choose number 5 because there are a few other high quality dividend growth style ETFs out there. And if you guys like content like this, make sure to subscribe because I post stuff like this all the time. Last but not least will be DGRO, or the iShares Core Dividend Growth ETF, which has a very high quality but straightforward strategy. The investment objective says the iShares Core Dividend Growth ETF seeks to track the investment results of an index composed of U.S. equities with a history of consistently growing dividends. Once again, exactly what we're looking for if you consider yourself a dividend growth investor. Now, it says why DGRO? It offers low-cost exposure to stocks focused on dividend growth, which is very important, again, if that's what you're looking for. The expense ratio is 0.08%, very cheap to hold on to. And this ETF basically allows you with just a single click to access companies that have a history of sustained dividend growth and that are broadly diversified across industries. Now, some of the top holdings in DGRO are names like ExxonMobil, JP Morgan, Microsoft, Apple. It's sort of a nice mix of dividend payers, but also names that do have a little more growth potential, which is why, once again, I had to include this in my list of the top 5. Now, as far as DGRO's results with a $10,000 investment over the last 10.3 years, this ETF has on average returned around 11.9%, which is very impressive. It beat some of the other ones. It didn't beat some of the other ones as well. But still, either way, a 10, 11, 12% consistent annual total return is very impressive. And once again, why I specifically think names like these ones could definitely be potentially used as a high quality foundation for any dividend growth ETF. So there's the results so far, at least historically, from some of the highest quality dividend growth style ETFs with a $10,000 initial investment and dividends being reinvested along the way. And as you can see with basically all the names we talked about, just a $10,000 investment compounds like crazy just over the past several years. Now, is that going to happen in the future? Is it not? Your guess is as good as mine, but I personally do believe in these high quality dividend growth ETFs like SCHD, for example. You can see I have almost 2,150 shares in my portfolio. But now lastly, most importantly, I want to hear from you guys down below. When it comes to high quality dividend growth style ETFs like the ones we talked about in this video, or maybe some other ones, comment your absolute favorites in my comments down below. Drop the ticker symbols down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.